Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. We're so excited to be here and to be a part of doing our television show at this historic schoolroom, which is a part of the Black History Museum in Fort Myers in the community of Dunbar. And this is Williams Academy. This is the only school in the area at the turn of the, when we entered into the 1900s, the turn of the 19th century. To the 20th century, all the way up through Jim Crow, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, segregation, then integration came along, and then blacks were integrated into other schools. So this is the only school in the area that people could actually go to school, African Americans. And this is a replica of it right here. So put that on your list of things to do whenever you're in the area, tour this museum. Speaking of Black history, we're sitting here with history makers right now. Joe North, the attorney, the famed attorney, and Joseph North, Jr., the famed attorney-to-be, are here from the North Law Firm. Gentlemen, welcome to Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you for having us.
Which one is the dad and which one is the son?
That's the dad right there.
Y'all, I know that. You know, you look older, but is it pretty cool that people keep telling y'all look alike? Is that pretty cool?
Yeah, it's been happening my whole life, really.
Okay. When you look at your dad, do you see any similarities?
Sometimes, depending on sometimes I'll see it in the mirror and be like, wow, I really look like my dad today.
Okay.
Or we'll have a picture together.
Joe, do you have pictures that were Joseph's age where y'all look a lot alike at that age?
Yes, in fact, the next time I come on your show, I'm going to bring some of those photographs.
Really?
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, man. And people the North Law Firm, before we get into all this meat and potato stuff, y'all family, people just love seeing y'all moving around, like when you're moving around with your dad who's doing well after Hurricane Ian, right?
That's right, yeah.
And your lovely wife and your grandkids and your nieces, your daughters and everything. When we see y'all moving around, y'all represent things that we feel proud of. So I know you're kind of shy, you don't care for all of that, but I'll just go to Joseph. Joseph, when you know that you're coming up with a family with that type of reputation from your granddad on down, just talk about maintaining those standards of the family and the firm.
Sure. Similar to my dad, I don't love the spotlight or anything like that, but I do, consider it an honor. Anytime you're representing, whether it's people or just any community larger beyond yourself. And so it's an honor and a responsibility, and it's something that I think I speak for all of us that we have pride in and take it seriously.
I'm glad you used that word honor. Joey used the word honor. That's big to you, the word honor, not only in you having a military education from the Citadel, and then the way you see your community and the way you go about your practice. Highest level of integrity, nothing negative about your practice in all of these years, 30 years or more now. That word honor, where did it come from and how you maintain it?
It came from my dad, my mom, my grandparents, because they taught me the importance of a good name, okay? Mm-hmm. Your reputation and your name precedes you and it comes behind you. Mm-hmm. So you have to always do whatever it takes to make sure that that name is held in high esteem. And in terms of the word honor, it is an honor to represent this community. This is our community, and I don't take it for granted. That's why we'll always do everything that we can to assist this community and to uplift this community. It is an honor. Mm-hmm.
And your firm, Joseph, you serve all people. But to be able to come in here, I noticed how you were just so curious when you came into this Black History Museum. You embrace the fact that you are African American, the history in this museum. It's very important. You don't shy away from that at all.
Absolutely. Just as a young black man growing up, South Florida, America, that's something that's always just such an important and overwhelming part of my identity. Mm-hmm. And so it's something I always embrace.
And Joe, when I said to you, hey Joe, we're gonna take back the Black History Museum in Dunbar, you lit up, man. I could have been going to take back the Taj Mahal, you wouldn't even light up like that. But when I said I'm coming to Dunbar and I'm gonna be taking in the Black History Museum in Clemente Park, you start lighting all up. Why is that?
It comes down to what we always say. there's no place like home.
Mm-hmm.
And this sits right in the middle of our home.
Did you play? Was this park here when you were growing up?
In fact, as we were parking, I was telling Joseph, and it's getting Sean to be able to attest to this too. You know, that basketball court out there, we used to play out there, and you couldn't come out there if you weren't tough.
Okay.
Okay, not just in terms
Asphalt,
of
hardcore.
That's right. That's just in terms of your game, but just mentally.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't find a better game than right out here at Clemente Park. Yeah.
Did you ever, before we move on, did you ever see Deion Sanders growing up? Like, did he play out there with you?
Yeah. So I'm 57. I think Deion's 55. He was a couple of years behind me in high school. I went to Cypress Lake and he went to North Fort Myers. So yeah.
But I heard he had a basketball game too.
Yeah, that's where he got the name Prime Time. Actually, it wasn't from football. It was after a dunk in a basketball game, and Richard Fain said, "Man, you're Prime Time."
All right.
And it stuck. Sort of like how you call me the senator. You said it a few times and it stuck. That's what happened with Deion Sanders. Richard Fain called him Prime Time, and it stuck.
And we're here with the Senator of Dunbar and the Junior Senator of Dunbar. Welcome to Leap This Live. Let me bump y'all in.
Yes, sir.
Now we rolling. Had to get some materials in. We are now have experienced a history-making event in terms of the storm. And when it comes to those types of losses, we know that people are going to be looking for law firms that can represent them when it comes to their insurance claims and thereafter. We're going to work our way into that. But I'm so happy to hear that the North Law Firm is going to be Johnny on the spot in that area as well. Starting right there, hurricane losses, insurance, people will need representation to get their best results from insurance companies. Joe, from your experience?
Yes. You know, we buy homeowners insurance or business insurance, and we hope that we never have to use it. But when we have to use it, then the insurance company is supposed to make sure that those benefits are there.
Mm-hmm.
If the insurance company is denying a claim for property damage or just undervaluing the claim, that's when they need the assistance of us so that we can make sure that they get the full compensation of their insurance policy.
I see. Our community went through a catastrophe there, Joseph. Through this storm, overall thoughts about that in the community as we work our way through this?
Overall thoughts is just, first things first, just proud of the resilience of the community, but it also just, such a catastrophe provides perspective. And as much as you prepare, certain things are just out of our control. So just happy to see the community come together, and I think that we will persevere through it.
Mm-hmm. What have we learned about preparation for storms?
Preparation is key, but of course there's only so much you can do. Mm-hmm. And when a storm such as Hurricane Ian, verging on a Category 5, comes and sits on the city of Fort Myers like it did last Wednesday, it's very tough. And so I think we've learned that a lot of times so much is in God's hands, and we can't take anything or any day for granted.
Mm-hmm. Joe, how was the law firm impacted? When I think about a hurricane of that magnitude and hitting a law firm and all those important documents flying up in the air all over the place, did that happen with the North Law Firm? And how did the staff over there turn out?
By the grace of God, our firm was not damaged. Not in terms of the infrastructure, the papers, or anything. But what we did do is we allowed our staff to be off for a few days to regroup and take care of themselves at home. But by the following Monday, we opened back up, there to help the clients, especially with these hurricane claims, but all the other cases as well. So we did not want our clients to go underserved. So we made sure that we've been there and we'll continue to be there.
Okay, so the clients are still going to get world-class service that they've always got.
That's right. That's right.
You mentioned hurricane claims. What's a hurricane? Walk me through what happens, like in terms of a claim.
So what it is it's called a property damage claim. Okay. So someone's roof is damaged, as an example, and they file a claim with their insurance company to get reimbursed for the repairs to that roof. But then the insurance company is either denying the claim or not paying them the full value of what that repair is going to cost. It's important that the customer, our client, that they do not accept just what the insurance company is willing to pay out, but they get the full value of what it's going to cost to repair that roof. They call us and we get on board. We'll have an estimate done to make sure that we know what it's going to cost for those repairs, and then we'll make the insurance company pay them. And if the insurance company does not pay them, we take it to court and have 6 people sitting on a jury to get full compensation.
I see. Now, Joseph, the whole idea of working and challenging insurance companies and understanding that the insurance companies are going to try to work to pay you less as possible, that's where high-level legal services like you guys come in, because this is not your first time dealing. You deal with insurance companies all the time as one of the top law firms here in terms of accidents and negligent security cases. You're constantly dealing with insurance companies, so this is just right in your wheelhouse.
That's correct. We're no strangers to having an adversarial relationship with insurance companies. So a lot of times they know, even when they see our letterhead, that we're coming to fight.
Right.
And that's how we represent our clients in the personal injury claims, negligent security claims, and that's how we do with the hurricane and property damage claims as well.
Joe, when should a person get in touch with you if they think they got do they have to first find out that they get a feeling from the insurance companies that they're not being handled properly, or before they even engage with the insurance companies, is it okay for them to start kicking it with the North Law Firm?
If they've got damage to their property, call us now, even if you haven't yet had a problem with the insurance company.
Really?
Why? Because it costs nothing for us to be involved in your case. We don't take a fee, we don't recover any money from our client. It all comes from the insurance company. So if everything goes well the way it's supposed to, we shake our client's hand and say, congratulations, yours went according to plan. But if things don't turn out well, then they've already got us on board. And they're not having to catch up because we're already involved.
The inequities when you have major catastrophes like that are just something that has a seismic shift on a community, Joseph, like this hurricane. There are many people who may feel that they weren't treated fairly in terms of just the whole overall the way the community was handled in hurricane restoration type concept. What's your thoughts on that? I'll go to both of them.
My thoughts are, it's hard to speak with certainty as far as intent, but I can tell you, sitting here, especially in this Black History Museum in 2022, any neglect at this point, intentional or unintentional, is inexcusable. And if I may just point to the importance of, platforms like this that lead Pits Live, is that you're shedding light on the people and communities that are actually affected. And some, national media platforms, they show Fort Myers Beach or Sanibel, but don't give Dunbar and other communities the proper attention they deserve. So that's where I stand on it.
Joseph, Joe, Harlem Nights, Harlem Heights, and some other areas around here that you hold near and dear to you as well. Talk about those communities and how, just in general, even the hurricane may have shined a magnascope on those types of things, but in you guys' practice over years, you've seen different things that people don't get proper representation, right?
Unfortunately, that's true. When you look at some of the national news, you see spots on what's happening on Fort Myers Beach or Sanibel, and someone may ask me why. I'll tell you why. It's because that's where the highest property values are, and it should be the other way around. It resources should go to where the lower property values are, but we find that the government a lot of times spend their resources and time where the higher property values are, and that's not right. That's something that we've got to correct. So that's where we come in. We have a special focus of trying to help the individuals and businesses who are not getting help elsewhere. And we'll fight tooth and nail to make sure that those inequities are reversed and that everybody's on a level playing field.
When you pick up those insurance policies, when I say you, I mean both of you and your fine firm, when you pick up those insurance policies, people really, there are things in insurance policy that, like me, I never read my insurance policy until it's time. You guys know where the key things to go to, right?
Right.
That it's all about the insurance policy. People should do what in terms of their insurance? They should get the best insurance if possible. First of all, starting off on anything like car, businesses, they should
I tell you
err
one
on the
thing,
side of the best insurance?
if I could give anyone any advice, one piece of advice, and that is do not shy away from low deductibles. So even though your premium may be a little bit higher, purchase insurance where you will have a low deductible, because during a time like this, you don't have $5,000, $7,500 to shell out on a repair. But if your deductible is only $1,000, that makes it a lot easier. So that's something that someone can do on the front end of it. In terms of after the incident happens, after the hurricane hits, file that claim right away.
Okay.
Yeah, file it right away and then get the insurance policy over to us. We'll comb through it and make sure that all the benefits that you are looking for, that they're there. And if they're not there, we'll tell you, but we'll comb through the policy for you.
I said this early on, Joseph, that I think that insurance companies, they have experts on their end who are going to try to do everything they can to hold that money. They don't care about you personally. They don't have any emotional feelings about it. I'm sorry for this. They will keep that money. Talk to me. And that's where
It's true, and that's where we come in as far as representation. We represent your best interest when we're fighting with the insurance company. So when they have their expert, we hire our own experts to combat what they have to say and to show your point of view and why you're entitled to much more than the insurance company would compensate you for. And as far as the property damage claim specifically, in addition to filing that claim as soon as possible, it's also important to take as many pictures as you can of your property and any damage. And while you're doing that, and if you have to pay out of pocket for expenses and repairs, make sure you keep those receipts in that paper trail. That part of the process is very important to making sure that your claim can be maximized.
And those damages, it's not just like structural damages to your house. It can be damage to the contents of your house, your clothing, your furniture, food that's been destroyed because jewelry, or you having to leave your house and go stay at a hotel for a week. All of that's reimbursable through insurance.
you gotta have records of all of that, receipts of all of that. Like
The more receipts, the better.
the more the better.
Yeah.
The North Law Firm has made a reputation for itself of being a firm for the people. When the hurricane hit, I saw some things that you guys have already done personally as a firm. I don't want it to come out of my mouth. I want you guys to tell me, what are some things that you guys did to help the community?
Well, a couple of things I can speak to is just earlier, the week after the hurricane, we partnered with Jones's Barbecue and provided free meals for most of the day, I believe from 11 to 4 p.m. Out there providing free meals to families and anyone who was affected by the hurricane. And I can speak personally as far as my relationship with clients and interaction with clients. If they're in a bind as a result of expenses compiling through the hurricane, we work with them and the insurance companies to try to expedite their settlements to get as much money in their pocket and as soon as possible. So it's really just a full service account of what we can do to provide assistance.
You want to expound on any of that, Mr. North? Senator Dunbar?
No, I think I would just echo what Joseph has said. We've
Just wake up and say we got to do something.
we've lent a hand to a lot of different organizations because you and I always talk about the full circle, and this community has given so much to us. So if we can give anything back to the community, especially during a time like this, we're going to do that. And yeah.
Now, you know what? I haven't had you on the show since you gave back to Mothers of Murdered Children, I think it's called.
Yes, we had that gala back in March or April.
Right.
It was, yeah.
Right. Your firm is committed to touching nonprofits, helping nonprofits who benefit the community.
Yeah, so at least once a year, we will have a gala where all of the proceeds from that gala will go to a nonprofit. So earlier this year, we put on a gala to benefit the parents of murdered children.
Right, okay.
Because they don't get the attention that a lot of the other nonprofits or organizations get. So we wanted to not only infuse them with money, but also to shine a light on them so that now everybody knows that they're there and know what services that they have. And we're going to try to do that at least once a year with other nonprofits.
I never, like doing Hurricane Ian that we're experiencing right now, we're taking the show on October 7th, people. I don't I haven't read or heard anything about any other law firm in the area actually doing this type of feeding, things like that, Joseph. You heard anything like that? I know you guys don't follow everybody else's footsteps, but just to know that your firm just goes first.
No, I can't speak to what any other firms might be doing or not doing, but I just know that it's sort of a reflex for us. As my dad said, this is home, and so, we are one with the community. And so when something like this happens, it requires everyone to do what they can. So that's the responsibility we feel, and we try to do our part.
Mm-hmm. How about politics, Joe? Who are our elected officials? How important that matters, especially in times like this, in terms of representation. People need to be really, you always say that people really need to think about it, the importance of their vote.
I'm glad you asked that, because I can tell you that I have seen certain public officials out there doing the work the day after the storm. So on Thursday morning, I'm on my dad's street, and who do I see? I see Johnny Streets, boots on the ground, out talking to people, helping people. Who else have I seen? I've seen Carolyn Watson. I've seen Teresa Watkins Brown. They've been out there helping everybody. I want to say almost on a daily basis, okay? Not dressed up, out there in just regular clothes, doing what they got to do. And that's what we want from our public officials. And I think it'd be great if all of our public officials will follow their examples.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how the North Law Firm, positions itself to, when you see injustice not being done, it doesn't necessarily have to be related to your firm or anything. You speak up and then you do something. Talk about that balance of making sure people understand when they're not being treated fairly, and how you make sure that you do your best to try to keep the scales balanced.
Well, sometimes to do that, it can get a little uncomfortable. But comfort is not always what we're seeking, okay? We have to do what we gotta do. And if saying something or doing something or filing a lawsuit is going to make someone a little uncomfortable, then we just have to do that, because at the end of the day, we have to seek justice for everybody across the board.
Hurricane, insurance, the North Law Firm is open for business and representing you.
Absolutely. 239-337-1191.
Open for business.
Yes, sir. You got the number, and of course, you can always find me on any social media platform.
And that's just one area of practice, but you also practice other areas. Go, Joseph.
We do workers' comp, but we focus on personal injury, negligent security, and of course, any property damage claims, especially involving the hurricane, we're happy to handle.
Okay.
And it's not just like residents or personal homes, but also any businesses who suffer property damage in terms of structural damage or just loss of income or profits. We help them with their business claims as well.
I thought something that was really interesting that you said on that too, is that I found that to be educational to me. You don't have to wait until you engage with your insurance company. You can have representation going in.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I know you got to get out there and take off your shirts and roll up your sleeves and feed somebody, but I'm glad you dressed up to come in here for a few seconds. How about that?
Yes, sir.
I said take off your jacket.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, let's bump you out. Oh, by the way, how did you fare personally? Your house is okay? You okay?
Yes, no structural damage. And, when I look around our county and look at some of the devastation, I'm just really thankful because, rain falls on the just and unjust alike, and it could be you, me, anybody, any day.
How about you?
Similarly, not too much structural damage, and in the grand scheme of things, thankful and, just looking out.
Okay. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those who are doing it. And of course, Miami has the oranges. but the North Law Firm got the
Juice.
See, that works. We'll see you.